Alright. Crazy crossbow build. Let's get it going. Okay. Alright, let's do it. Let's use... Let me go ahead and just try to deal with Hellsick as fast as possible with one of these arrows. Alright. Just cause. Bink. Crit. Oh, she did. Alright. Bye. Wait, how much damage was that? I don't check these damage numbers a lot. Let's go and check. Okay. So let's go ahead and see. 34. So 34 from regular, acid, necrotic, fire, psychic, radiant, and then that all gets doubled, of course, from the special arrow. Nice. God damn. Alright. Well, let's go ahead and try to kill all these things. I'm gonna go ahead and use one of these arrows. Actually, I'm gonna use one of these arrows. I never get to use these. Smoke powder arrow. Let's go ahead and try to hit a group here. Bink. That didn't really do much damage, to be honest. Alright, let's just use these. Sneak attack damage. Easy. Easy. Alright. Keep bouncing. Keep bouncing. We done? No, we got action surge. What am I saying? We got an action surge? What am I saying? Okay. We done? We ain't done. We still got one of these. Okay. Hold up. We're still not done. We still got 2 more offhand attacks because we're using dual hand crossbows. Alright, there you go. Less amount of attacks as the fighter bow build. But we have more spells like Spike Growth and Hunter's Mark. And we have offhand attacks. And other bonus action things that we could do. So this build does a little less damage than the fighter bow build, like I said, but it makes up for it in versatility and in like just having more options. It's also not as boring because, you know, attacking 12 times a turn is cool, but, you know, not being able to cast spells kind of sucks. What's going on with y'all, man? AoE back at you again with another video build guide for Baldur's Gate 3, and this time I'm going to show you guys probably my last bow build. I'm going to show. I know I've been showing a lot of bow builds. That's just because I'm kind of a bow man. Okay, whenever I play these RPG games, whenever I play these games that, you know, pick a class, I normally go with the ranger or the person with the bow because that's just who I am. You know, whenever I watch like anime or cartoons and a character pops up with a bow, I'm like, ooh, that's my favorite character type shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I have as many bow builds as I do. But this is the last one, I promise, or the last one for a while, I should say, because you never know. But this is a kind of a different take on the dual hand crossbow bard build that I showed you guys, okay? While the bard build may be slightly stronger, the reason why I'm showing this bow build is because I believe this is the bow build that is the easiest to level with throughout Baldur's Gate 3. And this build, along with the last 2 video build guides that I've done, is the party that I think is the best to beat Baldur's Gate 3 with. And don't worry, I'm going to make a specific video build guide on that, on the best team comp. But this is the last one for that team comp. It is a dual hand crossbow build that just does a lot of freaking damage, especially if you have special arrows like Arrow of Many Targets, Smoke Powder arrows, or the specific arrows for any type, for humanoids and dragons and whatnot, right? There it is, man. I'm going to show you all the levels. I'm going to show you all the items. I'm going to show you guys the spells. I'm going to explain each and every single thing very briefly, right? Because I'm trying to make these videos shorter, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so without further ado, I present to y'all the best leveling bow build for Baldur's Gate 3. Alright, so as an example, I'm going to be using Astarion, obviously, because if you didn't know, when Astarion becomes a Vampire Ascendant in Act 3, he gets an extra 1d10 to his attack rolls, and 1d10 necrotic damage to be exact, and that is freaking crazy. So I will most likely be using Astarion for builds like this. In any case, you can play this build all the way from level 1 to level 12. It is strong throughout the whole game. Okay, it does damage. It has some utility here and there. It has some AoE. It has decent single target damage. It's just a very useful character throughout the whole game. And I also want to note, it is your dexterity character, so any sleight of hand or stealth checks that you want to make, this character will most likely be able to make those kind of checks. Okay, so without further ado, we will be a ranger, and we're going to stay here for just a little bit. All right, favorite enemy doesn't really matter. Arcana proficiency doesn't matter. Heavy armor proficiency doesn't matter, so I went with Bounty Hunter just to stick with the theme of the build, because we are kind of a hunter. We are a dual hand crossbow wielding, and we want to make sure we do a lot of damage. So I just went with Bounty Hunter for the theme, but really just choose whatever you want. As far as the Natural Explorer goes, I went with what I thought was the most useful, which was poison resistance. Okay, it's pretty easy to get fire and cold res throughout the game. And as far as Beast Tracker and Urban Tracker go, these are better if you want to go with themes. But for me, the most useful thing that I saw was Poison Res, because Poison Res isn't easy to come across. So that's what I would recommend to pick. As far as abilities go, 16 Dexterity, 16 Wisdom. We want high dexterity because, again, it boosts our attack rolls, it boosts our damage, and it boosts our stealth and sleight of hand checks. And we want wisdom to be just as high, because wisdom is our spellcasting modifier. So every time it includes our spell save DC, and it also works in tandem with a certain headpiece that we're going to use later in the game to boost our damage. Okay. And as far as the third stat goes, Constitution, obviously, we are a glass cannon pretty much, but want to make sure we have a little bit amount of HP just so we don't get one shot, and we are going to be making concentration checks here and there, not too often because we're ranged, but often enough to where we have to have it our third best stat. All right, and as far as the other stats go, just do whatever you want with it. For the skill proficiencies, I'd recommend sleight of hand and stealth, obviously, and then secondary, I'd recommend some wisdom skills like perception and survival. Definitely perception and survival, because they're the two most checked wisdom skills throughout the game. And as far as the third one goes, I went with animal handling, just to, again, stick with the theme of the build. But insight is more useful, I think, but animal handling is the more fun option. Okay, at level 2, we are sticking with Ranger, and now we get spells. And of course, the first spell that every Ranger should be choosing, especially early game, is Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark, for bonus action, you mark an enemy and they take an extra 1d6 slashing damage. And Hunter's Mark is good because if you pass your concentration checks, or if you kill the enemy, while they have Hunter's Mark on them, you can transfer it to another enemy without expending a spell slot, and it only uses a bonus action. So Hunter's Mark can damn near last every single long rest, as long as you keep concentrating on it. And this is very important because this works with an item with a certain ring later in the game, which boosts our concentration attack damage. Okay, so Hunter's Mark is an obvious choice. The second spell that you choose is really up to you. I recommend choosing one of the ritual spells, and that includes Long Strider, which is basically free movement speed without using a spell slot, or Enhanced Leap, which is free jump distance without using a spell slot, or Speak with Animals, because we are the animal handling character. Fog Cloud is also a really good option if we are the dexterity character, so we will be stealing stuff as well. So it really is up to you. Okay, I chose Long Strider because out of the 3 ritual spells, it is the most useful because it lasts until a long rest, just like Hunter's Mark does. But for you, just choose whatever you want, but make sure you have Hunter's Mark. For the fighting style, we are obviously going archery to get that sweet +2 bonus to our ranged weapon attack rolls, and there really is no other choice for this build. We are a glass cannon, so getting a +1 to our AC is nice, but getting a +2 to our attack rolls is just better. At level 3, we are still going to be a ranger, and of course we get another spell. And again, it is really up to you. As long as you have Hunter's Mark, you're good. I would recommend getting Fog Cloud though as soon as possible, because Fog Cloud or Darkness can be used to steal the Druid Idol, which gives you one of the best rings in the game. So I recommend getting Fog Cloud because at this point in the game you should be doing that quest. But if you want some more ritual spells like these two, then go ahead and do that as well. It's really up to you. But more importantly, the subclass that we're going to choose is Gloomstalker, and the game is bugged because it's not showing me what the Gloomstalker does, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you vocally. So Gloomstalker, basically, you get a bonus. Oh, here we go. You get a bonus to your initiative rolls, which is really, really nice. I'm just not showing it. But we also get, if you're the first person to act in combat, which most likely you will be because of our high dexterity and our high initiative roll from Gloomstalker. You get an extra attack that does not cost an action or a bonus action, and it does an extra 1d8 worth of damage. So really, really good. Very bursty first turn with being a Gloomstalker. And of course we also get Umbral Shroud, which means you can use a bonus action to hide even more than the regular hide action. All right, so Gloomstalker is very, very good. Nice. Oh, there we go. I fixed the bug. So here we go. Yeah, we get superior dark vision. So now we go from, if your character didn't have dark vision before, now you have it, and an even better version of it. And of course, it also comes with Disguise Self. Gloomstalker also comes with other spells the more we level up. One of those spells being Misty Step, which is one of the best mobile skills in the game. So yeah, Gloomstalker is the easy choice here. You can make a case for Beastmaster and Hunter, but as far as this build goes, we want to do damage as fast as possible, as much as possible, and Gloomstalker is easily the best choice for that. At level 4, we are still sticking with Ranger, and of course we get a feat, and the feat that I'd recommend you getting is just +2 dex. +2 dex gives us more of a chance to hit, we get more damage in our attacks, and we get a higher ability checks to our dexterity rolls, okay? So I chose dexterity. I know it's the simple choice and the boring choice, but it is the most consistent choice, okay? I would not recommend getting Sharpshooter this early because we do not have high enough dexterity, and we don't have enough items to supplement the -5 to our attack rolls. And if you're playing a tactician, everything has a high AC. I would not recommend Sharpshooter, but if you want to get Sharpshooter early and start doing damage ASAP, start doing burst damage, that's up to you. That's cool. But for me, I like consistency, so I went with +2 dexterity. At level 5, as a Ranger, we get extra attack because we are one of the martial classes in the game. But more importantly, we get level 2 spells, and of course, the level 2 spell that I love so much is Spike Growth. Spike Growth is damn near one of the best AoE damage control spells in the game. It covers a large area, it does damage when you land it, and it does damage whenever the enemy walks through it. Alright? And let me tell you, the AI in this game isn't very smart, even on Tactician. That's including your teammates, so watch where you put the Spike Growth, okay? But this is easily the level 2 spell that I would pick as a Ranger. It's not even close. And this is also one of the reasons why this Ranger leveling build is one of the best Ranger leveling builds, because of Spike Growth. Because Spike Growth lets you set up skills like Fireball for your Sorcerer, because once they're all bunched up in the Spike Growth, you start nuking them with your Fireball Sorcerer, and the boss fights are over in 1 or 2 turns. It makes it that much easier. So Spike Growth, definitely the level 5, level 2 Ranger spell that I would pick for this build. Not even close. Alright, so at level 6, we are taking our first multi-class dip, and of course, we are going Rogue. Now we get sneak attack to our range attacks. Amazing. And I'd recommend getting expertise on sleight of hand and stealth, so now we even have a better chance in opening locks, opening doors, being stealthy, all that good stuff, okay? And you also get an extra skill that you can use to be proficient in as a rogue. I picked acrobatics, so now we won't get pushed off as often as we may have been earlier, because again, pushing is very, very good in this game, and the AI NPCs on the enemy side do know that as well. At level 7, we're going to be a level 2 rogue, and we get the nice bonus actions for rogue. Bonus action hide, but we already have the Umbral Shroud version, which is better. But we get Cunning Action Dash, which is most likely you're going to be using more often than any of your bonus action rogue things, okay? Disengage is also good as a bonus action. So these two you'll be using way more often than the hide one, if you're playing bursty like me. So yeah, they're pretty useful to have. At level 3, as a rogue, we get a boost to our sneak attack damage, okay? But we also get our subclass. And of course, the most overpowered rogue subclass that you guys have seen in multiple of my builds is Thief, because we get a free extra bonus action, which, because we are a dual hand crossbow build, that means another free unarmed attack with our offhanded crossbow, alright? It's simple, it's easy, and it's what we're gonna do. Alright, we are level 9, and we are now a level 4 rogue. We are staying with rogue for one more level, and that's because we get Sharpshooter as our feat. All right. Now you can get this earlier if you don't want to wait 9 levels to get this super good feat. Okay. What does Sharpshooter do real quick? It gets you a -5 to your attack. You can toggle this, by the way. You can toggle this, which is why you can make an argument to get it earlier. But you get a -5 to your attack rolls. But if the attack lands, you get a +10 flat damage to each and every single one of your attacks that land. And of course, you get the low ground rule. The special low ground rule where you no longer have penalty to your range weapon attacks no matter high or low ground. Okay, so yeah, Sharpshooter is really good. It's really what makes the build go from B to go from B plus to S tier. It just, I mean, let's say you attack 5 times in a turn. If all those attacks land and each of those attacks do 1 damage, you add a flat 50 damage just from this feat alone. Okay, and that's assuming you roll low on your damage rolls. If you roll high, then it just goes off the walls, right? So Sharpshooter is obviously the next feat that we choose. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, we only have 18 dexterity. Don't worry, we have a certain item that will make us have 20 dexterity, which is the cap. No problem. Now we are level 10. You have the option of staying with Rogue for 1 more level to get Uncanny Dodge. Right, which means you take half damage from attacks, and you also get an extra dice on your sneak attack damage. Not a bad option, but for me, for the last 3 levels, I want to multi-class 1 more time and get another subclass going in that multi-class. And of course, the multi-class that we're picking is none other than Fighter, another very popular multi-class option that you guys have seen on this channel multiple times. But it's just how can I pass up another action, right? And we also get another fighting style, which is +1 to our AC. So now we have +2 to our range weapon attacks, and we have a +1 to our AC from these fighting styles. Just super good, super solid for this build. And of course, at level 11, when we are a level 2 fighter, we get Action Surge. Not much to say here. It's an extra action, and it refreshes off of a short rest. One of the best abilities in the game. Okay, so at level 12, we will be a level 3 fighter, which means we get our subclass, and we also get, we get our subclass. Okay, so for me, I picked champion just for that -1 to roll a crit. Okay, and because this build with a certain ring, we have advantage on all our attacks, we have an even bigger chance to roll a crit if we keep stacking this crit chance, right? If you want flat damage, then Battle Master works. Battle Master, you can choose 3 maneuvers, and each of the maneuvers that you choose will add an extra 1d8 if that's one of your choices. And of course, these superiority dice refresh after a short rest. And you get 4 superiority dice as a level 3 Battle Master, which is a lot. So every fight, you can for 4 attacks, you can do an extra 1d8 damage, which is pretty damn good too. All right. So for me, I chose simplicity, but I do think Battle Master is the better option. But for this build, we're choosing champion just because it's simpler. It's less lines that we have to deal with and less buttons that we have to click, and it's really just as simple as that. But now, let me show you guys the items that I chose for this build. All right, so I'm going to show each item. I'm going to explain why I use them, and I'm going to explain very briefly on where to get them, and I guess how they all work together in the first place. All right, so first thing, we only have a 17 AC, and we only have 90 HP, which is, I know, a little squishy, but because we're a range build, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to get hit very often, and even if we do, just make sure you attach Warding Bond to your character, because this character will most likely be the character that will be your carry, because it does high single target damage, and if you have the arrows for it, it does high AoE damage. Alright, so first weapon, obviously, I'm just going to show both. So the Hellfire Hand Crossbow and the Near Misser, easily the best one-handed crossbows that you can get throughout the game. Alright, and you can get this. You can get the Hellfire Hand Crossbow from Yrgr in the Mausoleum in Act 2. Alright, Raphael is going to send you on a quest to defeat Yrgr. To beat Yrgr, I'd recommend getting a high charisma bard, because that is, I believe, the only way to convince Yrgr to kill all his allies and himself, meaning you get all the items, you get all the XP, and you save a bunch of time. So there you go for that one. And the near misser, well, it's funny it's called the near misser because you can easily miss this item. It can be found off Roa Moonglow, which is a vendor that you run into in Act 1, but she doesn't have this available in Act 1 yet. So you want to make sure she stays alive, all right? Because in Act 2, she will be at the Moonrise Tower, and she'll be one of the vendors. Roa Moonglow. She's a short little halfling, I believe, and by Act 2, she will sell this nice little hand crossbow. Now, these crossbows come with Scorching Ray and Magic Missile. For me, that didn't matter, okay? It's more so these are +2 and +1 weapons, which is what we need. And the only reason why you see an extra +1 to each of these is because I added an enchantment on it from the Drakethroat Glaive, a halberd all of us should be using, with Twin Spell, by the way. But I'll go over that some other time. But yeah, these are easily the best weapons for this build, just because of their +1s. The near misser is especially good because it's force damage. So you can use this to open up doors, open up locks, break walls, that kind of thing. All right. Next are the offhand weapons. These are pretty much the go-tos for when it comes to stat sticks. Knife, that crit, that damage roll. It's just super good. All right. And of course, we're going to use the Rhapsody because it gives us everything that we want for our ranger, for this leveling ranger build, which is kind of like a 1/4 spellcaster. Attack rolls, damage, and spell save DC. We need all three of these things when we're playing throughout the game. So Rhapsody is just super good. And of course, you can get the knife from the Kresh vendor, and you can get Rhapsody off of Astarion's backstory, frickin' Cazador's dungeon, vampire storyline. You know where to get it. All right. So for the helmet, this can be interchangeable. First of all, okay, you can use either Diadem of Arcane Synergy, or you can use another crit helmet like Saravok's Horned Helmet. But for me, I like flat damage, I like consistency, so I went with Diadem of Arcane Synergy. Now, if you don't know how this works, when you inflict a condition, gain Arcane Synergy for 2 rounds. In Arcane Synergy, your weapon attacks deal additional damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier, and our spellcasting ability is Wisdom, and that is currently a +3. So every single attack is getting a +3 if we inflict a condition. And by the way, it is extremely easy to inflict a condition. Basically, whenever you use a spell and Spike Growth, they both inflict conditions. Or even when you attack and you have a certain thing on your on one of your weapons, like if you inflict burning or whatever, it's super easy to inflict a condition. So Arcane Synergy is basically active at all times, especially during combat. So don't worry about that. And this is an easy +3 to each and every single one of our attacks. And because we're attacking so much each turn, this is, for me, this was the helmet that I chose. But if you want to go more crit, then by all means, you could use Saravok's. And you can find this helmet from the Kresh off of, I don't know if it's the main boss guy in there, but I know it's in the it's in the Inquisitor's room after you do the whole cutscene with the god or Vlokith, and you fight those guys in the Inquisitor room. One of them drops this helmet. I'm pretty sure it's the main guy, and it's just really good. For the cloak, I went with Cloak of Elemental Absorption just because once you every time you take damage from an elemental attack, you can absorb that and release it on your next attack. So it's just it's just another way of getting extra damage. All right. Another option is the Shade Slayer cloak for that crit stack. But the only problem with this cloak is it says while hiding. I don't know about you, but it's kind of a waste of time hiding for these battles unless you're playing solo, because these fights end in like 1 or 2 turns anyway. So I just went with the most burst option, and it was easily the elemental absorption, and it also adds a nice little layer of defense as well, because we are so squishy. We don't want to get hit with a big ass fireball, which has a likeliness of happening. Another cloak that'd be good is obviously the Cloak of Protection, but I want to stop showing my builds with this cloak. I think every single one of my builds have been using the cloak just because it's so damn good. So I just changed it to this, just for that nice defense/offensive layer, right? Oh, you can get this cloak in... Ooh, where can you get this cloak? I think... Okay, you can get this cloak in Act 2, I believe, in Kethric's Moonrise Towers, and it's in one of the chests in the rooms upstairs. That's what I want to say. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is, alright? For the chest, we use Graceful Cloak, alright? We get a +2 bonus to our dex, which is now why our dex is now 20. The reason why my dex is 22 is because I spoke to the Mirror of Loss, and that's why I went over the 20 cap. But you don't really need to do that. I'm just min-maxing like hell. So don't worry, having your dex at 20 is totally fine for this build. But yeah, this is super good. Well, not only do we get +2 to our dex, but we also get Cat's Grace, which now means we have advantage on all our dexterity checks. Sleight of hand, stealth, acrobatics, anything. So most likely we can pass every single dexterity check. And for me, I took advantage of this to make this my pickpocketing character. And now because of that, I'm super rich. I mean, look at all these scrolls. Yep, and this is because of my pickpocketing character. All right, let me show how much money I have too. 90k, crazy. Anyway, dude, what the fuck is this? So yeah, Cat's Grace, Graceful Cloth. Where can you get this? I want to say you can get this off of Lady Esther, which is the person you talk to just before going to the Githyanki creche. She's the one that wants the Githyanki egg, and she's also a vendor. So you can buy it off of her, or you can murder her, you can get it off of her, whatever you want to do, alright? For the gloves, I'm using the Helldusk gloves. And that's simply because we get an extra 1 to 6 fire damage. And we also get a +1 to our spell save DC, which actually kind of matters for this build because of spike growth. You know what I'm saying? But before these gloves, you can use Flawed Helldusk gloves, which you can get in Act 2 at the last light in. And before these, you can use the Gloves of Archery, which you can get these from the Goblin Camp at Grat the Trader right when you walk in. So yeah, a nice little progression there for gloves. And you can get these Helldusk gloves from Harlip in the House of Hope, the little incubus that Raphael, is having a little affair with. You can get this off of him, right? For the boots, there's a lot of options for boots here. I just went with the most consistent. I think a lot of my builds are also using these boots. It comes with a Misty Step that refreshes off of a short rest, and you can't be enwebbed, entangled, or ensnared, and you can't slip on grease or ice. These boots are just really hard to pass up. But if you wanted, you could also use Evasive Boots, which gives you a +1 to your AC and a +1 to your acrobatics. Not bad. You can also use Boots of Striding. While you are concentrating, you can't be knocked prone, which is a very easy way to break your concentration. Or you can also use Space Hunt, which is a Dimension Door boots, okay? But the obvious best choice is none other than the Nier boots. And you can get this in Act 1 in the Grimforge by either waiting till Nier dies off of poison, or just defeating Nier and getting off of their dead body, alright? Next is the amulet. I just chose a regular ass amulet here. The amulet slot and the boot slot are really interchangeable. They don't make or break the build. So I just chose another way to get Misty Step, just so I can save that Misty Step option, or so I can save my level 2 spell slots for using Spike Growth instead. Alright? But there are a lot of other amulets you can use. You can use the Bleeding Amulet, you can use the Branding Amulet, you can use the Health Amulet, you can use the Crit Amulet, or that Crit Amulet. You can use whatever you want. But I have other characters using those items, so I just went with the regular ass Misty Step. Again, doesn't really matter, because the most important part are the next 2 items that I'm going to show you, I think, which is the Risky Ring and the Strange Conduit Ring. So, the Risky Ring, I'd say it's the most important item of this build, because we have advantage on all our attack rolls. So that Sharpshooter feat that we took, that -5 to our attack rolls, plus our high dexterity, plus the Risky Ring, we're gonna hit every single attack, right? Every time we hit, we're gonna have a 90% plus chance to hit, even on high AC targets. And that is very important, because we want to make sure we hit with Sharpshooter on, so we get that nice +10 flat damage to every single one of our attacks. You do get disadvantage on your saving throws, which does kind of suck, true. So this character is susceptible to being stunned or charmed or even hit with a huge AoE attack. Sure, absolutely. The first line of this ring is really hard to pass up, because it is the single most effective way to get advantage in all our attacks. Alright? And of course, the second ring that we pick pairs really well with Hunter's Mark. Basically, after every long rest, what I do, I just cast Hunter's Mark on a party member outside of battle, and then this ring will activate as long as Hunter's Mark is active, which is through a long rest, by the way. So now every single one of our attacks deal an extra 1 to 4 psychic damage. All right. So that's why that's good there. And those are the items. Okay. And you can get these rings. You can get the risky ring. Where can you get the risky ring? You can get this. There's 3 vendors in the Moonrise Towers, and one of them is named Araj Oblodra. She is the dark-skinned vendor with white hair, I believe. She's in a, so there are 2 vendors in the main room, and there's 1 vendor to the side. She is the 1 vendor to the side. She also has a nice little interaction with Astarion, which you should keep Astarion alive in your party because she gives you a free +2 strength potion. But yeah, you can get this off of her. And you can get this conduit ring from that same Inquisitor room that we got this helmet from. It'll be in a chest in the middle of the room, and there you go. Also, I should probably mention, you can get this amulet right after killing Princess. If you decide to kill Princess Gut, it's going to be in the room behind her near Big Bertha. Boom, it'll be there. All right, and those are the items. As far as the consumables that I would use, I would choose to either use, oh god damn it, an elixir of bloodlust. Sorry, I'll just do this. I would recommend using an elixir of bloodlust. This is easily the best consumable in the game, just because it gives an extra action every time you kill something, which is crazy. All right, so I would either use the elixir of bloodlust, or if you want to stick with more of a crit theme, then you can also use the elixir of viciousness. All right. I also want to show some arrows to pick up every time you go into a vendor. Make sure you're buying these arrows. Any purple arrow you see in the vendor, buy that shit. It basically does double damage to whatever of that type. Okay. For example, the dragon slaying arrow is really good against a certain dragon underneath Worm's Rock that has damn near friggin' 1,000 HP. All right, make sure you're buying the purple arrows. They're not even that expensive. I would also recommend having a nice little clump of the utility arrows like this one. Break your target's concentration and silence it. Super good arrow against mages. You could also use the arrows like this, which push targets off of cliffs and whatnot. You can use the support arrow, cures your target of poison, paralysis, or blindness, which is really nice in a pinch. Or you can also use the teleport arrows. So I like having a nice clump of 10 of each, just in case I need it for a bind or whatever. Just in case, right? By the way, this is super good. You can really exploit getting to certain places in the game with this arrow of transposition. But the 2 most important arrows that I'd recommend for damage are the arrow of many targets. This is easily the best arrow in the game because you can target basically 4 targets. Your main target and 3 other targets near it, and the range is pretty large. And it does the same damage as you would for your main target. So let's say you do 50 damage on your first target. You will most likely deal 50 damage to each and every single one of your other 3 targets. Crazy, all right? And the other arrow, probably the best single target arrow besides these purple arrows, is the smoke powder arrow, all right? The 8 to 48 is fireball damage. Add that on top of your regular arrow damage, this can really do crazy. And that's why I bought as much. Every time I walk into a vendor and I see arrow many targets or smoke powder arrows, I buy them, no matter how much they cost. And of course, if you watch my pickpocketing video, nothing matters because we can steal our money back anyway, all right? But yeah, that's it for the arrows. Okay. And now that concludes the best leveling builds that I recommend playing this game. So yeah, this party as a whole is the party that I recommend playing throughout Baldur's Gate 3 and having the easiest time, most fun time possible. And I'll be making a video build guide based on this team comp, basically a concise version. So that'll be coming out later this week. But yeah, that is the bow build. That is Astarion, super strong. I don't know why the game keeps cutting out. Oh, because everyone's okay. So yeah, anyway, that's it. That's the bow build. Super good. It's strong right from level 1 all the way to level 12. It comes with the best AoE control spells in the game, Spike Growth. It does high single target damage. It does high AoE damage if you use the arrow of many targets. It has ways to heal. It has super high dexterity, so you can pick every single lock, and you could hide or be stealthy in any single place you wanted to, even in open areas. And yeah, just a really good dexterity based build character if you're missing one of those from your party. All right. So, also one thing I want to mention is one of the other reasons why I play this party is because I have every single person assigned an armor proficiency. So my healer / tank is heavy armor, the heavy armor user. My throw barbarian is my medium armor user. Astarion was the light armor user / cloth, I guess, and my caster here, my spellcasting fire sorcerer, was my clothing user. So that's why. Another reason why I think this is one of the best parties to run throughout the game with. That video will come in next Friday, later on this week. I just want to give you guys a little taste, and yeah, super good leveling build. And if you guys enjoyed the video, y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Algorithm bullshit. It really does help. Anything helps, really. And I will be making more video build guides. I'm kind of running out of builds, to be honest. So if you guys want to see a certain build, like a certain element, I'm working on a frost build. I'm working on like different type of substance builds for this game too. I'm working on a summoner build. I'm working on a druid build. But you know, I'm kind of running out of build ideas. So if there's a build you guys want to see, let me know down in the comments, because I will rack my brain and search through my inventory and do some research to try to make the best version of that build for you guys. All right, but also what I'm looking for is other games to play. So if there are other games that you guys want to see, I would love to make content on, and I love playing games. You know, right now I'd say I'm pretty much done playing Baldur's Gate 3. It's just about, you know, pushing out content for this game, right? So yeah, if you guys know any other games, if you guys know any other builds that you want to see from this game, let me know down in the comments. And yeah, man, y'all have a good one. I appreciate y'all watching. I really do. I really fuck with y'all. And I'll see y'all on the next video build guide for Baldur's Gate 3, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Peace! Also, fuck Diablo 4.